You ever notice how funded trading has this weird way of humiliating people? Like, it's not even the market doing it half the time. It's not the candles. It's not the news. It's not even the setup. It's you. It's the invisible version of you. The one nobody sees in the Discord chat when you post your funded certificate. The version of you that exists in silence when you're alone, staring at a chart, sweating, bargaining with reality. Because here's the painful truth. Most traders don't lose funded accounts because they're stupid. They lose funded accounts because funded trading exposes who you really are under pressure. It exposes your habits. It exposes your ego. It exposes your emotional hygiene. It exposes your ability to follow a plan when nobody is clapping for you. And if you keep blowing funded accounts, I want you to hear this clearly before we go any further. You don't have a strategy problem. You have a you problem. And that's actually good news. Because strategies are hard to perfect, but the way you behave is something you can change faster than you think. So, if you're ready to stop being the trader who passes challenges and then self-destructs, if you're ready to stop being the person who gets funded and then turns into a completely different human being, the moment real pressure shows up, like the video right now, because you're the type of person who doesn't just consume motivation, you actually apply it. Subscribe because this channel is built for traders who want long-term discipline, not short-term dopamine. And share this video with a trader you know who keeps blowing accounts but swears it was just bad luck, because you might be the one person who finally wakes them up. I want to start with something you probably never hear people say out loud, but it's the most important concept in this entire video. Passing a prop firm challenge is not proof you're a profitable trader. Passing a prop firm challenge is proof you can go on a temporary streak. That's it. That's all it means. And I'm not saying that to disrespect you. I'm saying that because I've watched thousands of traders do the same cycle. They grind the evaluation like it's a mission. They become the most disciplined version of themselves for 2 weeks. They cut their risk. They avoid news. They stop overtrading. They become patient. They only take A-plus setups. They finally act like professionals. Then the moment they get funded, something switches. Like a demon climbs into their chest. They start taking trades they never would have taken during the evaluation. They start clicking impulsively. They start widening stops. They start averaging down. They start forcing entries. They start treating the funded account like a casino chip they got for free. And then they blow it. And what's crazy is they'll blow it faster than they pass the evaluation. 2 weeks of discipline, 2 days of destruction. And the pain in their voice when they talk about it is always the same. It's not even confusion, it's betrayal. Like they feel betrayed by themselves, like they're asking, why would I do that? And that question is exactly where we're going to spend our time today. Because if you can understand why you do what you do and the pressure is real, you can stop blowing funded accounts permanently. Let me paint the most common funded trader story. First person perspective. Imagine you. You're on your last phase of the challenge. You're up 6%. You need 4% more. You've been patient. You've been taking your setups. You've been telling yourself, I'm not going to rush it. You wake up one morning and you're feeling different. You're hungry. You're thinking about how life will change. You're thinking about the screenshots you're going to post. You're thinking about being able to say, I'm funded. You're thinking about being able to say you finally made it. And because you're thinking about all that, your brain is no longer thinking about the market. Your brain is thinking about identity. It's thinking about validation. It's thinking about finally proving something to yourself and everyone who doubted you. You sit down at the charts and suddenly every candle looks like opportunity. Every pullback looks like an entry. Every little movement looks like confirmation. You start forcing trades because you want that 4% faster. And maybe you win. You might win 2 trades in a row. And now you're up 8%. Now you only need 2%. You get greedy, you size up. You say one more trade and I'm done. And then boom, you lose. Now you're up 6% again. You get angry because you were so close. You take another trade quickly. You lose again. Now you're up 4%. Now you're panicking because you know you just gave back half your progress. You start revenge trading. You start clicking to recover. You break your rules, you take a trade you normally wouldn't. You win a little bit. Now you feel relief. Relief is dangerous. Relief is the emotion that tricks you into thinking you're back in control when you're actually spiraling. You take another trade because you want to feel that relief again. You lose. Now you're up 3%. Now you're frustrated. The market feels like it's playing with you. You start thinking, maybe I should change my approach. You switch time frame. You add an indicator. You start improvising. You're no longer trading. You're trying to control reality. You end the day exhausted, angry, confused. Then you do it again tomorrow. That's the evaluation story. Now imagine you pass. You get funded. The pressure is different now. The evaluation pressure is like trying to win a game. Funded pressure is like trying to not lose your identity. Because when you're funded, you're no longer chasing the dream, you're holding it. And the human brain is terrible at holding things. We're better at chasing than maintaining. Chasing feels exciting, maintaining feels boring. And funded trading is maintenance. It's consistency, it's repetition, it's discipline. It's doing the same thing even when you don't feel like it. And that's where traders collapse. They collapse because they think funded means freedom. Funded is not freedom. Funded is responsibility. Funded is an audition every single day. Funded is a test of whether you can stay professional when the market is quiet, when the market is choppy, when the market is slow, when there's no perfect setups, when you're bored. And boredom is one of the most dangerous emotions in trading because boredom creates the temptation to manufacture excitement. And that's how overtrading happens. Let me tell you a third-person story. This is the story of a trader I'm going to call Marcus. Marcus is smart. Marcus is not dumb. Marcus watches hours of content. Marcus knows all the patterns. Marcus knows about liquidity sweeps, order blocks, imbalance, market structure, trend lines, moving averages. Marcus can talk about trading like a professor. But Marcus keeps blowing funded accounts every single time. Marcus passes evaluations by going on streaks, then loses the funded account within the first month. Sometimes in the first week. Marcus thinks the issue is his strategy. So Marcus keeps changing strategies. He blames the market. He says prop firms are scams. He says the spreads are rigged. He says the liquidity is manipulated. He says the rules are unfair. But the truth is simpler and more brutal. Marcus has never built a personality capable of holding a funded account. Marcus still trades like he's trying to prove himself. He trades like he needs excitement. He trades like he needs to be right. He trades like the market owes him something. And because of that, the funded account becomes a mirror. It shows him his emotional immaturity. It shows him his lack of discipline. It shows him that he's still addicted to the feeling of being in a trade, not the result of following a process. And if you're watching this and you feel personally attacked, good. That means you're awake. That means your ego is screaming. And if your ego is screaming, you're close to the truth. Like the video, because this video is not here to coddle you, it's here to change you. And if you've ever blown a funded account and thought, I can't believe I did that, comment, I'm done blowing accounts, because saying it out loud makes it real. It makes it a commitment. Now let's talk about what's really happening psychologically when traders blow funded accounts. There are two versions of you. There's the version of you that wants the funded account, and there's the version of you that is afraid of being funded. Most traders don't realize they have a fear of success. They only think about fear of failure. Fear of failure is obvious. Fear of success is hidden. Fear of success is the part of you that says, if I actually become consistent, then I'll have no excuses. Fear of success is the part of you that says, if I actually make money, then I have to protect it. Fear of success is the part of you that says, if I actually become funded, then people will expect more from me. Fear of success is the part of you that says, if I actually win, then I might lose the identity I built around being a struggler. Some people don't know who they are without struggle. They're addicted to the narrative of being the underdog. They're addicted to the pain because the pain gives them meaning. So when success starts to happen, they sabotage it because subconsciously they'd rather be consistent in suffering than inconsistent in winning. And funded trading triggers that sabotage. Because funded trading feels like you're holding something fragile, and if you're not emotionally stable, you'll destroy it just to feel control again. That's why people blow accounts fast. It's not always because they're reckless. Sometimes it's because they want to end the anxiety. They want to end the pressure. They want to end the feeling of being watched. And yes, even if nobody's watching, you feel watched. You feel watched by the prop firm. You feel watched by your friends. You feel watched by your future self. So you self-destruct so you can go back to the familiar identity. The trader who is trying. The trader who is struggling. The trader who almost had it. That identity is safe because it has no responsibility. But it also has no results. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine you finally got funded. Imagine your account is $100,000. You have a daily drawdown limit. You have a max drawdown limit. You have rules you must follow. You're excited. You feel like a champion. Day 1, you take a trade. It wins. You feel powerful. Day 2, you take a trade. It loses. You feel uncomfortable. Day 3, you take a trade. It wins. You feel relief. Day 4, you take a trade. It loses. Now you feel irritation. Day 5, you take a trade. It loses again. Now you're angry. And this is where the fork in the road happens. The funded trader who keeps the account has a certain relationship with anger. He doesn't negotiate with it. He doesn't argue with it. He doesn't obey it. He observes it and then goes back to his rules. The funded trader who blows accounts has a different relationship with anger. He listens to anger like it's truth. Anger tells him, you need to make it back now. Anger tells him, the market is playing with you. Anger tells him, you can't end the week negative. Anger tells him, if you don't recover today, you're falling behind. And he obeys. And when he obeys anger, he increases risk. He takes worse setups, he overtrades, he breaks rules. And it's not even the losing trade that blows the account. It's the emotional reaction after the losing trade. That's why funded accounts get blown in a sequence. Not one bad trade. A chain reaction. A spiral. One loss triggers anger. Anger triggers rule breaking. Rule breaking triggers bigger losses. Bigger losses trigger panic. Panic triggers desperation. Desperation triggers gambling. Gambling triggers account death. And then the trader sits back and says, this prop firm is a scam. No, you were the scam. You scammed yourself. You promised yourself discipline and then you betrayed it. And that betrayal is what we're fixing. You're sitting there with a funded account. You know your plan says 2 trades per day max. You know your plan says risk 0.5% per trade. You know your plan says only take trades during your session, but you're down 1% on the day. And you feel that itch. That itch is not logic. That itch is addiction. That itch is the part of you that wants to click because clicking makes you feel like you're doing something. Clicking makes you feel like you're fighting back. Clicking makes you feel like you're not helpless. But the market doesn't care about your feelings. The market is a machine. It doesn't reward effort. It rewards precision. So the moment you click out of emotion, you become the prey. And the market doesn't punish you because it's evil. It punishes you because you're careless. Like a stove doesn't burn you because it hates you. It burns you because you touched it. The rule is the rule. Touch it and get burned. So how do we stop this? We stop it by understanding that a funded account is not a money account. It's a discipline account. Most traders treat funded accounts like a money opportunity. That mindset is poison because money mindset creates pressure. Money mindset creates urgency. Money mindset creates greed. Money mindset makes you trade outcomes. Discipline mindset makes you trade process. A funded account is a test. Can you follow rules when the temptation is strongest? That's what it is. It's not a test of strategy. It's a test of self-control. And self-control is a muscle. It can be trained. It can be strengthened. But right now, most of you are trying to lift discipline weight with weak emotional muscles. You're attempting to hold a funded account without building the mental structure to maintain it. And that's why it collapses. Imagine giving a teenager a Ferrari. Sure, he might drive it for a week, but eventually he will crash it because his mind isn't mature enough to respect it. That's funded accounts. Traders get a Ferrari and treat it like a go-kart. Then they crash and blame the car. I want to talk about the biggest killer in funded trading that nobody talks about enough, the identity. Shift. During evaluation, you are an applicant. During funded, you are an employee. You don't feel like it, but you are. You are being paid to perform within rules. Prop firms don't want gamblers. They want consistency. They want controlled risk. They want traders who survive. The evaluation is there to filter out people who can't behave. But here's the issue. Many gamblers can behave temporarily. Many undisciplined people can act disciplined for 10 trading days if the prize is big enough. That's why they pass. But their default identity is still undisciplined. So when the pressure changes, their default identity returns. It's like a person who diets for a wedding. They lose 20 pounds. They look great. Then after the wedding, they gain it back. Why? Because they didn't become a healthy person. They temporarily acted healthy. They didn't change identity. Funded trading requires identity change. You must become a risk manager first, trader second. You must become a process addict, not a dopamine addict. You must become a boring professional. And I know that hurts your ego because you want to feel like a sniper. You want to feel like a killer. You want to feel like a genius. But the funded trader who survives is not a genius. He's consistent. He's calm. He's boring. He's repetitive. He's disciplined. He's predictable. And that's the highest level of trading, not excitement, stability. Now, I want to give you a hard truth. Most of you blow funded accounts because you don't respect the drawdown rules. Not because you break them directly, but because you trade too close to the edge. You treat drawdown like it's a suggestion. You treat daily loss limit like a speed bump. You trade until you hit it. That's insane. That's like living your life until you get into a car crash and saying, well, I was within the speed limit. The professional funded trader treats drawdown like fire. He doesn't dance near it. He stays away from it. He builds buffers. He protects capital. Because he understands something crucial. Staying funded is the game. Profit is the bonus. Most traders flip that. They think profit is the game. Being funded is the bonus. And that mindset makes you reckless. If you flip it, everything changes. If you decide your only job is to keep the account alive, you will naturally stop overtrading. You will naturally stop revenge trading. You will naturally stop risking too much. You will naturally become patient. And ironically, that patience will make you profitable. Imagine you're funded. You wake up, you check your plan, you know your session, you know your setup, you know your max trades, you know your risk. You take one trade, it loses. You feel irritation, you acknowledge it, you take a break, you walk away, you come back only if your next setup is clean. If it's not clean, you don't trade. You end the day down 0.5%. And you feel proud, not because you lost, but because you behaved. That's maturity. That's evolution. That's the funded trader mindset. Now imagine the old version of you in the same scenario. You take one trade, it loses. You feel irritation. You instantly take another trade to recover. That one loses too. Now you're down 1%. Now you're angry. You take a third trade. That one loses. Now you're down 1.5%. Now you're panicking. You take a fourth trade. That one wins a little. Now you feel relief. You take a fifth trade. That one loses big. Now you're down 2.2%. Now you're near your daily loss limit. You feel trapped. You think, I can't stop now. I have to end green. You take a final trade with bigger size, and boom, account gone. That's the difference between the trader who stays funded and the trader who keeps blowing accounts. It's not strategy, it's behavior. It's emotional maturity. And you can train that. You can train it by building rules that protect you from yourself. Because you cannot rely on willpower. Willpower is weak. Willpower depends on mood. Discipline must be engineered, like a prison, like a system, like a machine. You don't need to be motivated, you need to be controlled. This is why the best traders have strict routines. They don't trade whenever they feel like it. They trade at specific times. They don't take unlimited trades. They take limited trades. They don't size up randomly. They use fixed risk. They don't improvise. They execute. They don't chase. They wait. And if you want to stop blowing funded accounts, you must accept that you are not special. You are not above rules. Rules are not beneath you. Rules are what save you. Now I'm going to give you something that might trigger you. Most traders blow funded accounts because they're still trading for excitement. They might call it passion. They might call it hustle. They might call it love of the game. But it's excitement. They love the adrenaline of being in a trade. They love feeling like a shark. They love watching P&L fluctuate. They love the drama. And funded trading punishes drama. Funded trading rewards boredom. If you can't enjoy boredom, you will self-sabotage. If you can't sit there and do nothing, you will force trades. If you can't accept that some days there are no trades, you will manufacture trades. And manufacturing trades is how accounts die. So let's talk about boredom. Boredom is the silent killer. Boredom makes you scroll charts. It makes you switch pairs. It makes you drop time frames. It makes you justify entries. It makes you overtrade. The disciplined trader doesn't fight boredom by trading. He fights boredom by living a life outside trading. He has structure. He has hobbies. He has goals. He has something to do when there are no setups. If your entire life is trading, you will trade too much. Because you will try to fill emotional emptiness with clicking. That's not trading. That's therapy. And the market is not your therapist. The market is a mirror. It reflects your emotional instability and charges you for it. So here's a simple truth. If you want to stop blowing funded accounts, you must create a life that doesn't need trading to feel alive. Because when trading becomes your identity, every loss becomes personal. Every loss becomes an attack. Every loss becomes humiliation. Every loss becomes pain. And that pain makes you react. And reaction blows accounts. So, like the video, because this is not just trading advice, this is life advice. Comment if you relate to this feeling of trading becoming your whole world, because you're not alone. And subscribe because we talk about this deeper mindset stuff here, not just strategies. Now, let's address the prop firm itself. Some of you might be thinking, but these rules are designed to make you fail. Let me play devil's advocate. Yes, prop firm rules are strict. Yes, many firms profit off failed evaluations. Yes, the business model benefits from churn. That's reality. But here's the contrarian truth. Even if the firm profits from failure, you can still win. The rules are not impossible. They're just unforgiving. They require you to be professional. They require you to treat trading like a job. And most traders don't want a job. They want a lottery ticket. They want freedom. They want quick results. They want a lifestyle. Prop firms don't pay lifestyles, they pay performance. So when you blow accounts and blame firms, you're outsourcing responsibility. And outsourcing responsibility is how you stay weak. Because if it's their fault, you never have to change. And that is the trap. So instead of thinking prop firms want me to fail, think prop firms force me to evolve. Think prop firms are the gym. The gym is not designed to make you fail. The gym is designed to reveal your weakness. If you can't lift the weight, the gym doesn't care. It just shows you you're weak. Same with prop firms. If you can't handle drawdown rules, you're weak. If you can't handle risk limits, you're weak. If you can't handle daily caps, you're weak. And again, that's good news, because weakness can be trained, but denial cannot be trained. Denial just keeps you stuck. Let me give you a story from second person again. You pass the challenge, you're funded, you tell your friends, you feel proud, you sit down to trade, you feel like you have something to prove. Because now people know. Now you can't just be a random trader. Now you're funded. That label becomes pressure. And pressure makes you perform differently. You start wanting to show results. You start wanting to post profits. You start wanting to look like the funded trader you imagine in your head. And because of that, you start forcing trades. You start sizing up. You start chasing. And then you blow it. And then you disappear. You stop posting. You stop talking. You go silent. That cycle is not just about money. It's about ego. It's about identity. It's about validation. That's why it hurts so much, because blowing a funded account feels like losing status. And losing status is painful for humans. We are wired to care about status. So how do you remove that pressure? You remove it by internalizing a new identity. I am not a funded trader because of an account. I am a funded trader because of my behavior. I am funded because I execute rules. I am funded because I control risk. I am funded because I respect drawdown. I am funded because I know how to stop. If the account is gone but the behavior remains, you can get funded again. But if the account remains and the behavior is weak, you will lose it anyway. So build. The behavior, that's the real funding. Now I need to talk to the traders who constantly feel like they need to make it back. This is the biggest psychological poison in funded trading. The idea that you need to recover quickly, the idea that you're behind, the idea that you're racing the calendar, that mentality turns trading into debt. You start trading like you owe the market money. You start trading like you're late on rent. You start trading like you have to catch up. And when you trade like that, you will always risk too much. You will always be impatient. You will always be reactive. But professional funded traders don't think in terms of making it back. They think in terms of executing next. They don't care about recovery, they care about process. They know if the process is consistent, the money follows. And that's what separates the amateurs from the professionals. Amateurs trade P&L. Professionals trade rules. Now I want to go deeper into the exact habits that blow accounts. And I'm going to do it without listing them like a textbook, because I want this to flow like a real conversation. But I'm going to walk you through the situations, because situations are what make this real. Imagine it's Monday morning. You're funded. You're excited to start the week strong. The market opens and you see movement. You want to jump in. You tell yourself you're just getting positioned. But the truth is you're impatient. You enter early. The trade goes slightly against you. You feel discomfort. You widen your stop because you don't want to be wrong. Now your risk is bigger than planned. The market keeps going against you. You take the stop. You feel angry. But you also feel this weird shame. Shame is dangerous. Shame makes you want to erase the feeling as fast as possible. So you take another trade quickly to erase the shame. That trade is impulsive. It loses too. Now you're spiraling. That's one scenario. Here's another. Imagine you're up 2% on the week. You feel good. You feel confident. Confidence can be just as dangerous as fear. You start thinking you're in sync with the market. You start thinking you're seeing it clearly. You size up. You take a trade outside your plan because you feel unstoppable. That trade loses. Now your ego is bruised. You take another trade to prove you're still right. That one loses too. Now you're back at break even. Now you're angry because you gave back profits. And you start trading emotionally. That's how accounts get blown after good weeks. Because good weeks make people cocky, and cockiness makes people careless. Here's another scenario. Imagine the market is choppy. No clean setups. You've been waiting for days. You're bored. You're frustrated. You start thinking, I need to trade because I haven't traded. That is a delusional thought. You don't get paid for trading. You get paid for executing when the opportunity exists. But boredom makes you forget that. So you take a mediocre setup. It loses. Now you feel like the market is disrespecting you. You take another trade to get back, and boom, spiral. That's boredom-driven destruction. Here's another scenario. You have a rule, no trading news. But you see CPI coming. You tell yourself, I'll just take a small position. You enter before the news. The market spikes. You get slipped. You lose bigger than planned. Now you're angry. Now you're emotional. That one breaking of a rule triggers the rest of the day's destruction. All because you couldn't respect your own plan. Here's the hidden truth. Traders don't blow accounts on the trade that breaks the rule. They blow accounts on the reaction after breaking the rule. The moment you violate your plan, you lose self-trust. And when you lose self-trust, you become desperate. Because now you can't rely on discipline, so you rely on hope. And hope is poison. Hope makes you hold losers. Hope makes you widen stops. Hope makes you average down. Hope makes you pray for reversals. Professional traders don't hope. They execute. They accept. They cut. They move on. And yes, I said it. Hope is poison. If you trade with hope, you will blow accounts. Now let's talk about the most painful part of all of this. The funded account feels like it was supposed to be the finish line. Like once you get funded, you're safe. Like once you get funded, you made it. But funded is not the finish line. Funded is the starting line. Funded is the beginning of the real game. And the real game is consistency. Most traders prepare for the challenge, but don't prepare for the funded phase. They train for the sprint, but not for the marathon. The challenge is the sprint. Funded is the marathon. If you sprint in a marathon, you die. That's what happens. You get funded. And you sprint. You blow the account. So what does marathon behavior look like in trading? It looks like low risk. It looks like small drawdowns. It looks like preserving capital. It looks like taking fewer trades. It looks like skipping days. It looks like not caring about daily profits. It looks like focusing on monthly survival. It looks like boring execution. It looks like not trying to impress. It looks like risk management. That's the funded trader. Now, I want you to understand something critical. The market is not your enemy. Your impulses are. Your impatience is. Your ego is. Your need for validation is. Your need for control is. And funded trading amplifies those impulses because the stakes feel higher. When you're on a demo, you don't care as much. When you're in evaluation, you care, but you feel like it's a game. When you're funded, it feels real. That's why you act differently. So if you want to stop blowing funded accounts, you need to become the same trader in all environments. Demo you, evaluation you, funded you. Same behavior, same risk, same rules, same mindset. If you can't behave the same, you're not ready. Now, I want to give you the simplest mental shift that changes everything. Here it is. Treat your funded account like it's already in drawdown. What do I mean by that? Most traders treat funded accounts like they have room, like they can start strong and then play with house money. They treat it like they have flexibility. That's why they take risks early. That's why they overtrade early. But if you treat the account like it's already in drawdown, you become protective. You become careful, you slow down, you respect rules, you don't take unnecessary trades, you become a risk manager. And that protection keeps you alive long enough to actually compound. Because the real secret of funded trading is time. Time is the edge. The longer you stay funded, the more payouts you collect. The more payouts you collect, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the more stable you become. It's a positive spiral. But you can't reach that spiral if you keep blowing accounts every 2 weeks. So time is the prize. Staying alive is winning. Profit is secondary. Now, I want to talk about the habit of making the account back. Many traders blow one funded account and then immediately go back to evaluation, like they're chasing revenge. They rush, they overtrade, they size up. They try to pass fast because they want to recover pride. They want to recover ego. They want to recover status. And that's why they fail evaluations too. It becomes a cycle. They don't heal. They don't reflect. They don't learn. They don't change. They just jump back in. That's like crashing a car and then immediately driving again. Without learning how you crashed, you're going to crash again. So if you blow a funded account, the next thing you should do is not buy a new challenge. The next thing you should do is audit yourself. What was your emotional trigger? What rule did you break first? What situation started the spiral? Was it anger? Was it boredom? Was it greed? Was it news? Was it lack of sleep? Was it life stress? Was it trying to impress others? Was it trading too big? Was it too many trades? Identify the spark. Because the account doesn't blow randomly, it blows because something ignites you. Find the ignition. Fix that. Then go back. If you can't identify the ignition, you're doomed to repeat it. Like the video, because this is how you actually become dangerous in trading. Not by learning more patterns, but by mastering yourself. Subscribe because I'm going to keep giving you the truth like this. Now, I want to address something people don't want to hear. Many traders blow funded accounts because they don't have a real plan. They have ideas, they have concepts, they have strategies they switch between, they have a bunch of screenshots saved, but they don't have a written plan with rules that remove decision-making in the moment. Because the moment you rely on decision-making in the moment, your emotions will hijack you. So what does a real plan look like? A real plan is boring. It's specific. It tells you when you can trade. It tells you how much you risk. It tells you how many trades per day. It tells you when you stop trading. It tells you what setup qualifies. It tells you what invalidates it. It tells you what you do after a loss. It tells you what you do after a win. It tells you how you handle news. It tells you what you do if you hit daily drawdown. It tells you what you do if you're tired. It tells you what you do if you're emotional. It tells you how you review. It tells you how you journal. And yes, journaling. I know some of you hate journaling because it feels soft. But journaling is literally how you become self-aware. And self-awareness is how you stop self-sabotage. Without journaling, you're blind. You're repeating patterns without seeing them. You're living in an emotional loop. The funded trader journals because he respects patterns. The gambler doesn't journal because he wants to believe he's different every day. He wants to believe the losses were random, but they're not. Your behavior is consistent. Your self-sabotage has a signature. Journal reveals it. If you want to stop blowing accounts, start journaling your emotions, not just your trades. Write down what you felt before the trade, during the trade, after the trade. Write down what triggered you. Write down what you were thinking. You'll start seeing your sabotage patterns, and once you see them, you can stop them. Now, let's go into the heart of this video, how to stop blowing funded accounts. The first thing you must do is accept that your job is not to make money. Your job is to not lose money. That sounds backwards, but it's the most profitable mindset. If you focus on not losing, you naturally become selective. You naturally become patient. You naturally become cautious. You naturally protect capital. And when you protect capital, you survive. Survival is the gateway to profit. You cannot profit if you don't survive. That's like trying to win a marathon by sprinting the first mile. You'll collapse. So your new mindset is survival first. Second, you need to reduce your risk so low that you cannot destroy the account in one day, even if you lose multiple trades. Many traders risk too much. They want fast growth. They want big days. They want to double payouts quickly. But funded trading is not about big days. It's about consistent weeks. So if you keep blowing accounts, your risk is too high. Period. I don't care what your strategy is. If you keep blowing accounts, your risk is too high for your emotional stability. That's the truth. Lower it. The third thing is you need to create a hard stop rule that you cannot override. If you lose 2 trades in a day, stop. If you hit 1% drawdown, stop. If you feel anger, stop. If you feel the urge to make it back, stop. And you might be thinking, but what if the next trade would have been a winner? Who cares? That's like asking, what if I keep driving drunk and make it home? Stop. Your goal is not to maximize wins. Your goal is to minimize self-destruction. The stop rule is what saves you. The fourth thing is you need to build a payout mindset, not a win mindset. Most traders chase wins. Funded traders chase payouts. Payouts require consistency. Payouts require survival. Payouts require discipline. You don't need to be right all the time. You need to not violate rules. Payout mindset changes everything. Because when you focus on payout, you stop caring about daily P&L. You stop chasing. You stop forcing. You stop gambling. You become calm. That calm keeps you funded. Now, I want to give you a story of a trader who finally got it right. This is a composite story from many traders. He was blowing funded accounts every month. He would pass, then lose. Pass, then lose. He thought he was cursed. He thought prop firms were scams. He thought the market hated him. Then one day he decided to stop trying to win and start trying to survive. He cut risk in half. He limited to one trade per day. He stopped trading news. He stopped trading when emotional. He started journaling. He started taking days off. He started treating trading like a job, not a game. His profits became smaller, but his survival became longer. He stayed funded for months. He started collecting payouts. Those payouts gave him confidence. That confidence reduced his emotional swings. His drawdowns became smaller. His account stabilized. And then the most ironic thing happened. He started making more money. Not because he traded more, but because he stopped destroying himself. That's the game. That's the secret. Stop self-destruction. The money will follow. Now I want to talk about you directly. If you keep blowing funded accounts, you have to stop romanticizing intensity. You have to stop thinking the best traders are intense. The best traders are calm. You have to stop thinking the best traders take lots of trades. The best traders take few. You have to stop thinking the best traders are always in the market. The best traders are often out. You have to stop thinking the best traders size up. The best traders control risk. You need to become boring. You need to become predictable. You need to become disciplined. And yes, that's not exciting, but it's profitable and it's stable. And stability is the highest form of wealth. Because stability means you don't need luck. Stability means you don't need hype. Stability means you can repeat. And repeat is how you win long term. If you're watching this and you know you've been gambling, like the video, because admitting it is the first step. Comment boring trader if you're ready to become that kind of trader, because that mindset shift is literally your exit from the cycle. Subscribe because I'm going to keep dropping these truths. Now let's talk about what to do in the moment when you feel the urge to break rules. This is the practical part. This is where most people fail. They know what to do, but they don't do it. So here's what you do. When you feel that urge, you don't negotiate with it. You don't reason with it. You don't argue with it. You treat it like a toddler. You don't explain to the toddler why the stove is hot. You just pull the toddler away. You remove yourself from the chart, get up, walk away, drink water, breathe. Because that urge is temporary. It's an emotional wave. It rises, peaks, falls. If you can survive it without acting, you win. Most traders act at the peak. They click, they overtrade, they break rules, and then they regret. So your job is to ride the wave without acting. The best traders are not the ones who have no emotions. They're the ones who don't act on emotions. Emotions are normal. Acting is the problem. Now, I want to talk about the long-term method to stop blowing accounts. This is the part nobody wants to do because it's slow. You need to build consistency on a smaller account with the same rules as funded. If you can't keep a $1,000 account alive, you won't keep a $100,000 funded account alive. If you can't trade a small account with discipline, you won't trade a funded account with discipline. The environment changes, but you don't. So train yourself. Trade small, trade slow, trade boring. Prove you can follow rules for 30 days, then 60, then 90, then go funded. Most traders rush, they go funded without discipline. They get funded by luck, then they blow it by behavior. So slow down. Build the trader first, then get the account. Now, let's zoom out. Why does this matter? Because funded trading is one of the greatest opportunities of our time for regular people. It's a way to access capital without being rich. It's a way to potentially change your life. But it's also one of the greatest psychological traps. It promises freedom but requires discipline. It promises wealth but demands patience. It promises power but requires humility. It promises a lifestyle but requires routine. And that contradiction is what destroys most people. Most people want the reward without the identity. But you cannot skip identity. Identity is the foundation. If you're still the same impulsive person, the funded account will just amplify your impulsiveness until it kills you. That's the truth. Now, I'm going to end this video with a challenge. For the next 20 trading days, I want you to treat your trading like you're already funded. I want you to trade with strict rules. I want you to limit trades. I want you to risk low. I want you to stop after losses. I want you to stop after wins. I want you to journal emotions. I want you to walk away when triggered. I want you to embrace boredom. And at the end of those 20 days, you will be a different trader. Not because your strategy changed, but because your character changed. And character is what holds funded accounts. If you want to become that trader, like the video because this is not entertainment, it's transformation. Subscribe because we're building disciplined traders here, not gamblers. And share this video with someone who keeps blowing accounts because the truth is, most traders don't need a new strategy. They need a new identity. And if you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most people. Because most people avoid the truth. Most people avoid accountability. Most people avoid discipline. But you're here, you're listening. That means there's hope for you. Not hope like gambling hope like real hope. The kind that comes from choosing discipline. The kind that comes from deciding, I'm done. The kind that comes from saying, I'm not going to be the trader who keeps repeating the same cycle. You can do this. But you have to be willing to become boring. You have to be willing to become disciplined. You have to be willing to become consistent. And when you do, you won't just stop blowing funded accounts. You'll become the kind of trader prop firms actually fear. Because the trader who can control himself is unstoppable.